hello there. You've just caught me working on my newest work in progress. I realised I was mid-row, thought I'd better finish it. Be with you in a minute. This video is kindly sponsored by my patrons. If you would like to join, please head down to the description box and you'll find the link in there. Welcome everybody to Lovebird Lane. I'm somewhere in the vicinity of the 60s in these episodes. And I do also have my Muddlings podcast still on YouTube if you want to go back and check that out. It was pretty bad, let me just tell you right now. But there's 50 plus-ish episodes of that as well. So, yeah, welcome. Today is Thursday. It is the 13th of January, I believe. And yes, we are here again. We are recording. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are new here, thank you so much for trying me out. If you are a returning viewer, as always, I appreciate you being here so very much. And yeah, I'm so glad that you could spend some time hanging out with me. Hopefully my audio is better today. I apologize profusely for last week's audio. I turned the gain up a little bit on my microphone, which was probably unnecessary. And for some reason it picked up Marion more than it picked up me. So that's fantastic. She fritzed out my microphone a few times. So I do apologize if the sound was really bad last week. Hopefully it is better this week. Although, well, Marion is outside to start with. I have closed my front door, so there shouldn't be any wind sounds. And Granger is still here, and he seems to hate everything today. So you may or may not hear him groaning, grumbling, doing old man stuff. It's just, we just take it day by day with that dog. Some days he's happy, some days he's not. Today is probably not one of the happy days, but anyway, I am here. If I didn't say already, my name is Julianne. Hi. And yeah, we're here to talk about some crafty things. So I have only 2 knitted projects to share with you today. I have a couple of quilted projects, one of which I've just realised I have left across the room. So I'm probably going to have to go and fetch that so I can show you some of that. But yeah, let's get on with it. Alrighty, first up we're going to do a little bit of an update on my beekeeper's quilt. That's the name of it, Julianne. Did you see me look away thinking, oh my goodness, what is it I'm talking about? The beekeeper's quilt. I have been working on it still. I have, like I mentioned last week, kind of burned out on it. I have started another work in progress, which you have just seen a little snippet of. But yes, I am still occasionally making a hexie. And I have a few to show you. So I've now gotten through all of the scraps that I had with me at that time. I think I do have some more around the place, so I'll have to dig those out. But we can start by showing you what I have made. So these were from some Circus Tonic Handmade, I believe, for these ones. So I've got 3 of those. I have these little guys, which were knit from some knit picks. This is the Chroma Twist fingering. These were leftovers from a pair of socks that I made for my friend Emma. That is what is left of that ball there. If we can get it focused, there we go. That is what's left of that yarn there. It is a gradient yarn. It's really nice, and they don't make the fingering anymore, I don't think. I also have some knit from my own hand-dyed yarn, Lovebird Lane yarns. This colourway I believe is wilted on my sparkle base. I don't know if you can see it. It's Gold Stellina. And I still have quite a bit of that left. I also have quite a bit of the Circus Tonic Handmade left as well. So because I'm more of a pink/purple blue type of lover, rather than having a lot of yellow and orange, which aren't really my jam, I'm going to actually make more of these 2 colours. So like I said last week, I was knitting 3 of each colour. I think I'm going to keep going and use all of these up. So I've got a lot more, it's a bit more heavily skewed towards the purple and the pink. I think I might still have some of my own yarn, the Solstice colourway. I think I've still got some more of that as well. So I might pop a few more of those hexies out in those. So I think I mentioned last week I'm using 3.5mm needles. I'm magic looping these guys, and yeah, I've just done, how many have I done? 3, 6, 10. I've done 10 in the last week, so you can see there I haven't been working on them a whole lot, because I reckon I could do between 3 and 5 a day depending how much knitting time I have, and the fact that I've only got 10 means I haven't been working on it very much. So yes, that is the Beekeeper's Quilt update, and I do have to say a big thank you to one of my patrons, Heidi. She actually has offered me some merino, what was it called, sliver, to allow me to stuff my hexies with that yarn, with that wool. So thank you so much, Heidi. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you Saturday to do our little exchange. Yeah, so thank you so much. It was a great idea. I actually never even thought to use fibre of some sort to fill my hexies, so that was a fabulous idea. And I stupidly gave away a lot of my fibre as well a while back, yeah, to another friend. But yes, we do these things and we have to live with the consequences of them. So yeah, thank you so much, Heidi. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to start stuffing these as I'm knitting them, so that takes a big step out of it. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And my next work in progress, which you saw a little bit of at the beginning of this vlog, is a new cast on. I have been wanting to cast on. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably will have seen me complaining about wanting to cast on a shawl, not really having any business casting on a shawl, but I have cast on a shawl, you know, as you do. And this is what it looks like right now, kind of like a big, hey, I could use it as a mask. I don't know that it'd be very good because it's quite airy fabric, I suppose. This is the Waiting for Rain shawl, and I have knit one of these in the past out of purple and like a tealy, purpley bluey colour. I did the hack where you stripe the shawl and you do the lace sections in the other colour. This time I'm just doing a solid colour. This is some Madeline Tosh that I've had in my stash for a really long time. It is called Copper Pink. That is the colourway that I am using. And this yarn, I actually stumbled across this. I don't even know how I found out about this base, because it's a holographic sparkle base. So where you normally have a gold sparkle or a silver sparkle, this is holographic, so it's all colours. Like, you probably won't be able to quite see the colours on the sparkle, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, when I saw some pink yarn that had holographic sparkle in it, I was like, yeah, sign me up. And I immediately bought 2 skeins of this, so I have 2 skeins. And which is good because that gives me, I think, 840 yards, and this shawl apparently uses approximately 800-ish. So yeah, that's good, and then there'll be hopefully a little bit left over to make some pink hexies out of. But this has been in my stash for a while, and yeah, so I pulled it out. It's got like a very subtle speckle. I don't know if that'll show up, but yeah, I think I'm nearly at the point where I'm going to start adding the short row lace section. It's a really lovely shawl. I really do adore this shawl. I'm knitting on 4.5mm needles, which I think is a US 7, and I'm using my Carbon Knit Pro Carbons. And yeah, I really like these needles actually. They're like metal needles, but there's just that little bit more grippy. So for like, this is a singles yarn because it's Tosh Merino Light with the hologram hollow sparkle. I've lost my words again today. Yeah, so it's Madeline Tosh Merino Light, so it's a singles base with that sparkle in it. So yeah, being as singles is a little bit more slippery, these carbons actually are really nice for just gripping onto the yarn. So I'm enjoying this so far. I only cast it on last night before, the 11th I think it was. Today's the 13th, so yeah, night before last I cast this on, and yeah, I'm still just at the point of going backwards and forwards doing my increases and starting the shawl pretty much. And yeah, I would say by the time I talk to you next, I will have at least one section of lace put together. So yeah, I'm really, like I said, enjoying it. I love the hologram. The fact that it's, I'm not loving the fact that it is sparkle yarn in a single space, because a single space just by nature is less tightly spun than applied yarn, for instance. And I'm finding that a lot of this sparkle is shedding, which is microplastics out into the world, which is why I'm conflicted about sparkle yarn these days. Obviously, if I have it in my stash, I'm going to use it. However, I'm not really hugely comfortable with having those little sheddy bits of plastic coming out. I mean, I know a lot of yarn, I still use yarn that has nylon in it because I haven't been able to find a source as yet for the bio-based, like the biodegradable nylon, or at least that's affordable for me to be able to access. Yeah, so I'm trying to avoid plastics in all sorts of places in my life. So yeah, having these little tiny bits of plastic that shed is making me a little uncomfortable. But yeah, I don't know what I can do about it, honestly. Yeah, I am finding myself covered in little tiny bits of holographic plastic, so yeah. I guess we just deal with it as well as we can. So the next two things I have to talk about are quilting related, as I have discussed last week. Yes, I have finished my very first quilt top, and it is quite big. I'm not going to be able to open it up, but I do have it here. It's all folded, and basically this was a pattern that I discovered through Karen of Just Get It Done Quilts YouTube channel. She calls this the ugly quilt. So she suggests that you could use all sorts of like fabric that you have that just don't match anything else, or you'd no longer find to be to your taste, but this is a way that you can put them all together and create something that's, like, you know, maybe not the most beautiful quilt in the world, but one that is, you know, one perhaps just a little bit like not as special, so you use it more places, and then obviously add more memories and things like that to the quilt, because it's getting used a lot more than something that's a really precious quilt. So with this one, I will of course put in a photo. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have already seen it. It was an incredibly popular post. I was quite surprised. I think it's somewhere in the vicinity of 200 likes or something. And yeah, it seems people really like quilting. So yeah, I used Karen's pattern for this, and she has 2 sizes in the pattern. You can get it for free. It's on her website. I'll put a link in the description. I'll also put her video up in the doobly-doo. And yeah, so I think the one that she does in her video is a 9 fat quarter, 10 fat quarter possibly. I can't remember now. And she said you can also do it would have been 12 actually. It would have been a 3x4. So you use fat quarters for this, which is if you're not familiar, when you cut a piece of when you cut a piece of fabric, say a yard of fabric, and then if you imagine that you cut that in 4 pieces, that is a fat quarter, what one of those quarters is. So yeah, her initial pattern is for 12 fat quarters, or you can do it with 20 fat quarters, which is what I did. So that will give you a quilt that's 4 blocks across by 5 blocks down. And yeah, I made the bigger one, and I just pulled a whole bunch of fabric out of my stash. I had some fat quarters that I purchased during Vlogmas. If you were following me on Vlogmas, you would have seen my trip to Spotlight. If you haven't, I will also put that up in the doobly-doo. I have to remember that I can only put 5 things up in there. I didn't know that. So hopefully I don't tell too many things that go up there, but yeah. I took a trip to Spotlight during Vlogmas. I got 10 fat quarters for $25. They had a special going. I've used all of them in this, and I also pulled a bunch of fabric from my stash that I already had. So some like this arrow fabric is out of my stash. This one here is out of my stash. This one is a Liberty that's out of my stash. This is also a Liberty from stash. This one you'll probably recognize because I've made a mask out of that. I've put it in the lining of of a dress that I made. I can't remember what was the name of that dress. I don't know. But yeah, I've shown you guys the dress that I made, and I use this as a lining for pockets. I have some of this stuff here, which I think was my last year's Christmas Advent bag, project bag was this fabric. So yeah, I got a bunch of fabric from Stash plus those 10 fat quarters that I purchased, and I created this quilt. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out. I was a little bit unsure. I kind of had a bit of a snafu with the mixing of the colours, because I only have a 45mm rotary blade, which means that cutting through lots of layers, because that's what you have to do with this, is you pile them all up and then you cut them all at the weird angles. I obviously can't cut through a whole ton of fabric with that smaller. I'd probably want a 60mm rotary cutter to really cut through a decent pile of fabric. So what I did is I split my 20 fat quarters into 4 piles of 5, and not really thinking about it, I didn't really calculate how many fabrics I would need in order to have completely different fabrics through the whole block. So basically my blocks, this here is one block, okay, and because I only had 5 fabrics in the entire block, you can see that I've doubled fabrics on the block with the one separate color. So yeah, I didn't really think that through, and I've ended up having double of all the colors except one on each block, which was kind of when I realized what I'd done, I just kind of slapped my forehead and went, you idiot. But you know, by that point I had already gone too far in the quilt and wouldn't have been able to go back and redo it, because I would have already had all those weird cuts in my fabric. So I basically just went with it, figured I can't really stuff it up anymore, and so I just took my blocks, and because I had 5 blocks from each pile and it's 4 blocks across, I just basically diagonal sort of arrange them. So I just sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just like 1, 1, 1, 1. So if you look at the photo, I'll pop it in again so you can see. You should be able to see that the blocks are placed in kind of diagonal lines. So yeah, all that's left now really is to quilt it, fill it, put a backing on it, quilt it and bind it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use for batting just yet. I have read that you can use like flannelette sheets and things like that, which I probably will do, I think. Sorry folks, my memory card ran out, so hopefully everything looks the same. Yeah, as I was saying, I do have an old set of flannelette sheets upstairs. My friend Belle, who has made quilts, said, oh, batting's not really that expensive, but having a quick look on Spotlight's website, I don't really know what batting to get. I want this to kind of be a little bit of an every occasion kind of quilt, like one that I do take with us if, say, we go for a picnic and we can sit on it, or you know, we just take it places with us, or that kind of thing. So I want it to kind of be something that's easily washable, easily you know, dryable, take careable, I suppose is probably what I'm trying to say. So I'm thinking possibly an old flannel sheet just between it, and another piece of cotton on the back. I do have a bunch of offcuts from the fat quarters that I used for this, so I'm thinking what I might do is to learn a few more blocks, try out some new things and make it into like an after quilt, which is, I don't know whether that's something that Karen from Just Get It Done Quilts coined, or whether that's just a well-known thing. But she likes to make blocks with her leftovers and just include it as part of the backing of the quilt. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the leftovers that I have. So I thought what I would do is take my scraps that I had left and then just, you know, maybe try some new blocks, because obviously I have done, which I will show you in a minute, I just haven't brought it over yet, and now Grange is asleep under my tripod, which means I've got no space to get out. But yeah, the half square triangles, I know how to do those now, so I thought maybe I'd try some flying geese, maybe try something a little bit more involved, just to practice, because obviously it's going to go on the back of the quilt, so I figured it was a good opportunity to try some different blocks, some different techniques, just to get that practice in. And if it doesn't look perfectly like it should, it's not going to really matter, because it's just going to be on my after quilt. So yeah, that's something that I'm probably going to be working on over the weekend, is just cutting those pieces up and getting a plan for what I want to do with them. And now I'm going to struggle my way out of here and go and grab my other quilting project so that I can share that with you as well, and hope that I don't trip and die trying to get over the dog. So we'll see if I come back. Okay, here I am with my quilting box. It is a lovely old cardboard box. I should maybe treat myself to a better box for my quilting supplies. But I will just quickly show you. I have all of this fabric. This is all left from my fat quarter offcuts of that quilt that I have just shown you. So that is all going to be chopped up and used in an after quilt. So let's find somewhere to put that while I dig out a bunch of stuff. I haven't done any more on the pieces that I showed you. Well, one of them's complete anyway, but the piece that I showed you last week, which is the Sonoran Star quilt piece, I have had a thought about how I can use that in a project bag, so I'm not going to add any more to that piece as as in quilting pieces. So yeah, just I'll keep you posted with whatever I do with that. But I have this set of fat quarters. I think I showed it on my Instagram, I think. Get rid of the box. I have this set here that should focus. There we go. So it's from Moda Fabrics. It was a charm pack that I purchased called Boudoir, which is designed by Basic Grey. And even though this one I have on top is not great at all. I'll put in a photo that I shared on Instagram anyway, so that you can have a look. I still have a bunch of my charm squares that haven't been turned into half, what are they called? Yeah, half square triangles. So I have a pile here that are waiting to be trimmed. So these are half square triangles, half square triangle blocks. So this is just using some leftover Prima Homespun from Spotlight. This is the charcoal color. I think it's possibly a little bit blue for this set, but if you kind of look here, that is kind of, this bit here is more of a kind of blue grey, so I think ultimately it's going to work out okay. But yeah, this is for a Fresh Diamonds quilt, which is one that I discussed last week. I am still going through and creating my half square triangle blocks. I actually ran out of this solid colour, so I did put in an order to Spotlight, so I have got some more of that come in the post. Actually Saturday I received that, but I haven't got back to this yet because I haven't been able to have any time to do any quilting yet this week. So maybe this afternoon, if my editing doesn't take too long. Last week was horrendous. It took me a day, like a whole afternoon and then part of a morning to get that done. It was just a nightmare. But yeah, I have to get all of these, I have to get like matching solid squares for all of these pieces here and turn them into half square triangle blocks. Once that is done, I can start piecing my quilt, which is going to be the hard part, because that's what that photo that I've just shared is me just playing around, seeing how I can piece it together. So yeah, I'm being a real newbie. I want to make sure that you know, it looks cohesive, it looks even. So yeah, I think it's probably going to take me a little while to nail down what layout I'm going to eventually decide on. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this one come together, because I don't know if I said it already today on this, but I have yet to find a dark coloured Fresh Diamonds quilt. They're all very bright with white background, whereas I'm going for that real dark sort of charcoal background and the darker, moodier charm pack that I'm using. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how it ends up, and yeah, have maybe the world's first dark fresh diamonds, or at least social media's first dark fresh diamonds. So yeah, that is something else that I am working on. And I've also got I found a pattern this morning that I'm thinking I might like to do for a gift for someone, and yes, so I've got lots of plans brewing, but I think if they are gifts, I probably won't be able to share them until they are gifted. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. That'll be TBA. But that's all I'm working on. That is it for this week. So even though I've been talking for over half an hour, that wasn't a whole a whole lot. And I don't even really have a lot to tell you about life stuff. I've just been working, really. Spent my weekend making that quilt, and I've not even really been watching or reading or anything really interesting. Simon and I are just going through Bob's Burgers again at night, which I love, and yeah, I'm really enjoying watching that again. But yeah, other than watching Bob's Burgers in the evenings and working during the day, there's not a lot going on. A little bit of sewing, a little bit of knitting, and that's about it. So I think I might leave it there. I'm actually quite thirsty today. Today's the first cooler day this week, and yeah, I'm really thirsty today. So I think I might go and get a drink, start editing this, and get it up for all my patrons who get this video early. And yeah, I would like to thank them again for their support. It's really appreciated. It helps out a lot with costs. And yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for getting this far in the video. It's really important to watch videos as far as you possibly can for, you know, YouTube's algorithm. And yeah, if you and speaking of the YouTube algorithm, if you liked the episode, please give me a thumbs up, and if you really loved it, make sure that you are subscribed. So yes, until next time, happy knitting, happy crafting, and happy quilting, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.